We are constantly told that adding a few effortless micro-habits to our day will fix our energy and posture without requiring a massive lifestyle overhaul. But the reality of habit stacking is different. Adopting a list of 15 supposedly easy actions all at once creates a massive cognitive burden. Every new rule you remember is another heavy block added to your mental bandwidth. Stack too many, and the whole routine comes crashing down. This chart tracks habit retention over 30 days. Consistency stays remarkably steady when people add 1 to 3 daily habits. But the moment they introduce a fourth intervention, retention plummets towards zero. Instead of blindly following a 15-step listicle, we need to stress test these habits by looking at the actual biological return on investment for each one. This quadrant chart helps us evaluate the trade-offs. The x-axis measures implementation effort, the physical and cognitive work required to perform the habit every day. On the y-axis, we measure the biological impact, or the measurable physical or mental health return the habit actually delivers. Success depends on ruthless curation, finding the specific interventions that yield the highest physical reward for the lowest mental cost. Let's start with metabolic control, specifically through dietary sequencing and gut microbiome support. The input for this cluster involves eating fiber-rich vegetables first at every meal and introducing active probiotics, like kefir or kimchi, into your daily diet. This chart maps the precise biological outcome of that sequencing. The blue curve shows how a pre-meal fiber barrier physically slows down glucose absorption in your bloodstream, preventing the steep red spike of a standard meal. Flattening those glucose spikes helps eliminate afternoon energy crashes and keeps you feeling full for much longer. However, while the physical act of eating vegetables first is simple, the cognitive load is heavy. It demands high mindfulness during meal prep and can create awkward social limitations or fewer options when dining out. These metabolic habits land in the top right quadrant of our matrix. They offer high biological impact, but require moderate to high effort. Swapping salty snacks for berries is the outlier here. It provides a solid antioxidant reward for much lower effort, placing it in the top left quadrant. Metabolic microhabits offer powerful biological stabilization, but they require a willingness to sacrifice dietary spontaneity for rigid planning. Our second cluster targets the postural decay and vascular stagnation caused by continuous desk work. This involves interrupting static sitting every 30 minutes for movements like wall angels, standing leg stretches, or taking the stairs. Physically, these breaks are effective. They mitigate lower back tension, reset rounded shoulders, and flush stagnant blood from your lower extremities. But there is a severe trade-off for knowledge workers: the disruption of your cognitive flow state. The human brain requires extended periods of uninterrupted focus to solve complex problems. Breaking that concentration every half hour shatters productivity. Imagine being deeply engrossed in complex work, only to be abruptly jarred out of your rhythm by a blaring alarm. The mental cost of constant context switching increases the overall effort score of these mobility habits, pushing them into the bottom right quadrant. While frequent mobility breaks are physically optimal, they can be a net negative for professionals whose primary daily asset is unbroken concentration. The final cluster bypasses muscles and digestion to directly manipulate the autonomic nervous system and circadian recovery. This includes rapid breath work, like the physiological sigh, and wearing blue light filtering glasses immediately after sunset. This animation shows the immediate outcome of the physiological sigh. 2 quick nasal inhales followed by an extended exhale forces your heart rate to drop in real time. Similarly, blue light blockers protect the brain's natural melatonin production from screen glare, preserving your deep sleep architecture. The unique trade-off here is self-awareness. These habits require almost no physical effort, but they demand a high degree of acute focus to execute. Remembering to trigger a breathing exercise in the heat of a stressful event is incredibly difficult to people. If you can overcome the trigger awareness barrier, these provide the highest return on investment, landing definitively in the top left quadrant. Nervous system interventions offer high biological leverage with almost no physical friction, provided you can install the mental triggers required to deploy them on demand. Stop trying to implement all 15 habits. True optimization requires picking only the 2 interventions that solve your largest daily friction point. We mapped the habits to 3 profiles in this matrix. First, the overwhelmed beginner, needs immediate positive feedback without prep work or complex rules. For this specific profile, pairing the physiological sigh with simple peri-swaps provides immediate stress reduction and antioxidants. The trade-off is sacrificing dramatic transformations in exchange for building an unbreakable baseline of consistency. Next is the time-poor professional who cannot afford to break their cognitive flow during the workday. Utilizing a 5-minute brain dump and blue light blockers clears mental clutter and preserves sleep quality for the next day's deep work. To maintain this, they must actively abandon midday mobility hacks to fiercely protect their concentration. Finally, the bio-optimizer is willing to spend high mental bandwidth for marginal physiological gains. Rigid dietary sequencing yields incredibly stable insulin and a robust microbiome for them, but it requires exhausting daily discipline over every meal. Lasting vitality stems from the self-awareness to curate a routine that fits into the existing rhythm of your daily life.